Hello, adventurers and seekers of the truly extraordinary. Today we dive deep into the history of smell and how our senses have a profound impact on our history. A single, powerful scent can transport you back in time. But what if that scent was not a single perfume, but an entire city? A world we can't see, but we can imagine. A smellscape. Welcome to the ultimate sensory trip, a journey into the hidden history of ancient Rome, a place that defined civilization not just by its monuments, but by its distinct, visceral, and sometimes overwhelming aroma. This is a history we've often ignored, but through a new kind of smell walk, we're finally starting to breathe in the past. Forget what you think you know. Forget the common story of a perpetually foul city. The stench of ancient Rome wasn't a constant, uniform cloud of decay. It was a chaotic, nuanced, and utterly overwhelming symphony of odors. It was the daily reality of a population of 1 million people crammed into a stone city. The streets themselves were a living, breathing thing. They reeked of human and animal waste, a constant reminder of a civilization with advanced public works but still lacking the most basic of residential plumbing. Most homes weren't connected to the sewers, so chamber pots were simply emptied into the streets below. Imagine it, a sudden cascade of foulness, splashing across the cobblestones. The smell was everywhere. Even a law was passed to protect innocent bystanders, forcing anyone who injured someone with their dumped waste to pay damages. But this was only enforced during the day, so it's fair to assume nighttime was a much riskier time to walk the streets. And then came the animals. Mules turned the giant stone querns in the bakeries. Livestock, driven into the city for slaughter or sale, filled the air with their earthy scent and the manure they left behind. The smoke from the altars in the fora hung in the air, a constant aroma of burning animal fat from the daily sacrifice of bulls and other beasts. The amphitheater added its own, unmistakable note to this urban chorus, the scent of blood and death from the gladiatorial games. Even the laundry was a stinky business. The washing of clothes, or fulling, was considered notoriously foul-smelling because it used urine as a detergent. While some historians argue the stench was confined to the back areas of the laundries, the Roman poet Martial tells a story of a fuller whose foul-smelling jar broke in the middle of the street, testifying to a very public, if temporary, odor nuisance. But beneath it all, there was a silent, insidious layer of pollution. Archaeological analysis has revealed high concentrations of heavy metals like lead in the harbor sediments of Ostia, a ghost of the widespread use of lead pipes in the city's water systems. The Roman smellscape wasn't just a matter of inconvenience, it was a physical manifestation of a crowded, polluted world that would be a form of sensory overload for any modern person. In a world filled with such pervasive odors, a person's smell became their shield. For the Roman elite, a deliberate, curated aroma was not a luxury, it was a necessity, a way to create a personal, perfumed reality that served as a deliberate counterpoint to the city's public stench. This wasn't just a spritz of perfume. This was a grand statement. Emperor Nero, ever the showman, had silver pipes installed in his dining hall that spritzed his guests with rose water between courses. The legend goes that at a single party in his Domus Aurea, he spent 4 million sesterces, the equivalent of 24 million euros today, on a shower of rose petals soaked in his favorite expensive essence. He was not the only one. His successor, Emperor Elagabalus, was also known for his floral extravagance. The gossip was that he once buried his guests in so many rose petals they suffocated. And the rituals were meticulous, almost absurdly so. An almost absurdly detailed ritual of perfuming existed, with specific scents designated for different body parts. One might use mint on the hands, marjoram on the eyebrows, palm oil on the beard and breast, and a crushed thyme essence for the knees and shoulders. Even Julius Caesar was said to have had a signature scent, a fragrance called telinum which reportedly smelled like a mix of Greek hay, sweet clover, and marjoram. This extravagant use of fragrance was not without its critics. Some Roman satirists and philosophers, like Seneca, viewed excessive perfume as a sign of moral decay, believing its use was part of the decline of morality in Rome. They believed that people who used too much perfume were trying to hide something foul. The secret to this aromatic escape was the global reach of the empire. A recent archaeological discovery in Carmona, Spain, gave us a direct link to this perfumed past. Inside a 2,000-year-old quartz bottle, perfectly sealed with a bitumen stopper, researchers found a solid, preserved mass of perfume. Through modern science, they identified its main ingredient, patchouli. Imagine that. The musky, earthy scent we know today was a valuable commodity, sourced from a plant native only to India. Its presence in a Spanish tomb is a tangible testament to the far-reaching Roman trade networks. Stories were even invented to drive up the price of ingredients like cinnamon, which was said to be protected by mythical phoenixes in Ethiopia. To wear this perfume was to physically display one's access to the far corners of the known world. In ancient Rome, a person's smell was their calling card. It was an immediate and powerful social marker. The poor, who had neither the time nor the resources for personal hygiene, were defined by the odors of toil and survival. Roman poets described them as notoriously smelling of garlic and onions, staples of a basic diet. This was not a choice, it was a consequence, a constant reminder of their existence at the ground level of society. In stark contrast, the Roman elite deliberately cultivated an aroma of imported spices and clean linen. The very word perfume comes from the Latin perfumum, through smoke, a reference to the burning of aromatic resins and incense. This practice connected the pleasant scents of the elite to religious rituals, a way of physically elevating themselves to a status akin to that of the gods. The royal purple dye, made from snails, had the unfortunate side effect of smelling like dead fish, a paradox of wealth and unpleasantness. For them, the smells of the poor, of sweat, garlic, and waste, were a repellent and visceral confirmation of their own elevated status. The rich wore their wealth, the poor wore their toil, and the air itself created an invisible social wall. Scent wasn't just for people, it was for the gods. The Romans used powerful, sacred aromas to purify spaces and honor the divine. The smoke from burning cedarwood, myrrh, and frankincense created a bridge between the mortal and the divine. The Romans believed these aromas could bring them closer to the gods and goddesses, and they used them to promote feelings of peacefulness and relaxation. This ritual was a way of cleansing not just the body, but the soul. Even ordinary citizens could be treated to the scent of saffron sprinkled on the stages of the local theater, a small taste of a divine world. To combat the smell of blood sports in the amphitheaters, large cisterns would be filled with perfumed water and then sprinkled on the crowds. For centuries, the smell of the past was lost to us. But today, we're finally starting to piece it all back together. Using advanced techniques like gas chromatography and mass spectrometry, archaeologists can analyze the chemical compounds trapped in ancient artifacts, from pottery to burial remains. These silent, invisible molecules are giving us a new kind of history. They reveal what the Romans put in their perfumes and how they traded for rare ingredients from distant lands. Chemical analyses of amphorae from Roman shipwrecks, for example, have revealed traces of myrrh and olive oil, offering insights into maritime trade and cultural preferences. We can now see how scent shaped their rituals, their trade, and their identities. This new, sensory approach to history allows us to bridge the gap between our world and theirs, not just with our intellect, but with a primal sense that connects us to the very essence of human experience. What do you think? Is smell such an important factor in your lives? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.